Iran and Hezbollah are vowing to attack Israel as early as tonight or tomorrow. Blinken is warning the G7. This is why we are amidst a bit of a black swan event. I'm going to tell you what I'm doing to prepare and how I'm going to be treating this market correction as we are what I consider still a bull market. I would not consider things over. So let's jump into it right here as Bitcoin is playing alongside this bottom side trend line and back to our boxes of peace and prosperity and death and despair from last week. I'm going to see if I can draw these in really quickly just from the low to the high. And we said very, very likely Bitcoin was going to make a stab into this box. And then we moved it down, I think, slightly and said, look, you know what? We're going to use the high to the low fib right here and just move it down just a hair. And this was the area we said, hey, look, probably looking to take some longs off this region. But things can change quickly. And in effect, as I was watching price unfold, I said, you know what? Probably not going to take any longs until down in this region a bit lower. So took a few longs. If anything, I think this this is the line in the sand today. 53,300. As long as Bitcoin can close a daily above there, our hash ribbons indicator will still provide confluence. And this could be the massive death wick before the Fed steps in and says, we're going to lower rates and we're going to stimulate. There's going to be some kind of emergency rate cut decision. But you can notice as well from the high to the low here, we came right into the 618, into the bit of the golden pocket zone right there, for a massive bounce. The bounce off the low here, so far so good, up 10%. And so are we going to finish the day strong and just close above this level? And that would keep our hash ribbons indicator valid. You don't want to see any closures below this on a candle body closing basis. We said, look, we can have wicks down into this area, no closures below here. Otherwise, the hash ribbons indicator will become invalid and provide for some downside somewhere to the tune of 20 to 40%. Where does 30% take us down to 38,000? And remember, Capital Investments production cost chart. Let's see if I can get it pull up here quickly. Capital Investments production cost. Let's see if that's the one. But I heard a new chart printed today. Wow. Capital Investments, not bad. That is not what I wanted. I want the production cost chart. That's from May 2024. I'm going to go back one more. TradingView production cost based on Capital Investments was last at 47,000. Let's see if we can get the chart to populate here today. This is December 2019, so that's not going to be it either. I might have to bring this one up for you guys tomorrow. I'm going to try one more thing here. Production. Let's see if that did the trick here on the daily here. Let's see on the daily. Bringing that production cost on the VLX index in here. And no, this does not look like the updated version here. So what I am going to do is bring this one up for us here tomorrow. But I'm glad we brought this chart back up here because we talked about, hey, where do we want to be taking some shorts from up in this area? Where do we want to be taking some longs from down in this area? And essentially the way to trade this blue buy signal, this is the BLX, so it's a day behind, right? So not forecasting this, but I do like the chart. For a bit more confluence here, I'm just going to remove these indicators. And, you know, just something to keep in mind here through this bull market, it is normal for us to have something like 7, you know, major corrections, right? We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This kind of be, call this the 7th, or you would call this one the 7th from high to low. Yeah. Or the 5th or the 6th. So pretty darn normal. And if we're going to pick ourselves up by our bootstraps, I believe Bitcoin will do it right from this level here. 53,000. Really, I would like to see the closure back about 55.6, but close enough is close enough to me. So I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. 53,200, as long as we're above there by the end of today. Gonna still, you know, and sometimes you're going to take losses on those trades, but, you know, you got to go with those prior bull market indicators and, you know, use them to your benefit. So typically in a major drawdown, and if this is going to be a black swan event, you know, you could see a drawdown to the 786 at 28,000 easily, 37,000 or 40,000 bucks. This is not even close. So if World War III goes off, warning sign flashing, probably going to, you know, bears are out. My bet is, you know, Democrats don't want World War III going on as the election is abounding here. So some save the day politics, some money go printer burr, probably right around the corner to save Bitcoin and traditional markets. So NASDAQ taking a bit of a spill here as well. And from the high, and remember, this is the market that never goes down. So this correction is, you know, probably is down 17% from the high. S&P down, wick down 10% from the high. And tech stocks being the leader. I heard Warren Buffett sold a major stake, 7% on the Dow. Production cost chart updated 2024. Let's see if that'll give it to us. A collection of unique charts, blah, blah, blah. Charts, investment, da, 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 da. That's not the one. I really want to see that production cost. Another thing I wanted to bring up today here, you got Polymarket saying Trump has a 54% chance against Harris coming in at 43%. But a couple of weeks ago, exclusive on Reuters said Harris was leading Trump 44 to 42%. Oddly enough, that's right when the market started to dump, July 23rd. Let's just bring up the good old calendar here. Yeah, July 23rd was, you know, right around this area. So as the market started pricing in the chance of Harris coming back for a win, things started getting hairy. So that was bearish. You had the SAM rule also going off. SAM rule, which is when the 3-month moving average of the national unemployment rate, U3, increases by 0.5 percentage points or more relative to its low during the previous 12 months. So SAM rule has been dead indicator for recessions. And then let's see, Warren Buffett dumps Apple. So remember, you know, when people are the most bearish, right, this is when it's time to consider getting bullish. He dumped half his Apple stock. What is the story here today? Warren, on Fortune, dumps $75 billion worth of Apple stock, big tech stock, dump, dump, dump. So not good for techs and not really supportive there. And then you have the Japanese carry trade everybody's talking about. As the Dixie's going down, well, Mr. JPY has been going up and significantly as the Bank of China has begun to raise interest rates. And I do think this one has a little more to go based on the technicals on the weekly. You're going to have some, you know, massive bullish divergence and should get a bounce up to the 382 there at 75 cents. So if that does happen, another warning flag there. So if the Fed does not come out and act, right, I would suspect that Bitcoin is going to chop around here sideways for a bit more. And, you know, chops around can come, you know, all the way down in the $40,000 region. The 5-day volatility is beginning to lift off, and will cross down in 2 days below 54,000. That will be a big warning sign. This thing has flopped around on us a couple of times, but volatility is maintaining to the upside. And you do have those major drives of bearish divergence coming back from, is it this high? No, it's this guy right here. The RSI major bearish divergence still continuing to play out, and could give us that target down about 39,000 bucks. And let's see if that lines up with a fib. That is your, yeah, the 618 fib is coming in at 38,845. So, you know, where would that take us correction wise? Yeah, we don't want to see this go down much lower, honestly. But 45%. And a lot of prior markets have had 45% corrections and then just picked themselves up by their bootstraps and just, you know, hammered it on. Continued onwards and upwards. How big was this? That was 40% right there. 40% correction. Just to show you, you know, it does happen. And this is right after the halving. Again, 40% correction. And what do we have here? So just a few examples of, you know, almost near 40% corrections. We've gotten away with a bull market with 25% corrections. And now the major value add area, yeah, coming in at the 618. It's in confluence with this trend line coming in at 44,000 bucks. Anywhere in that green box is going to be, in my opinion, a decent stab for the markets here. Let's see if that lines up with anything else. It also lines up with the 0.5 and the 618 on the full broader range. But I do like that because it lines up with the trend line and the 618. And I'm going to keep this little box of peace and prosperity and just say in general, as long as we're above that white 200 simple, good. Below it, bad. Below it, bad. So we don't want to see that. Or that was a black swan. That was a coronavirus dump. Anyways, back on to kind of discussions here. If Bitcoin does end up closing today below that level, below that 29.3 on the daily, then, you know, I'll be preparing for some lower prices. And if I am going to be bearish, you know, the bounce to get out of this mess is probably going to be significant. So no reason to capitulate here, especially if you're a long-term holder. There's going to be bounces along the way and probably a better, you know, place to get out. So I think we went over the news, right? We went over the indicator. We've got Iran and Hezbollah, which I think this could be serious. I mean, potentially they've got Hezbollah is much stronger than the other guys from Palestine. You know, they're saying that this attack is imminent, that they are going to attack Israel. It's just a matter of if, you know, when, not if. And, you know, the market is definitely going a bit risk off, as you can see with the stocks and Bitcoin. But I do believe Bitcoin is going to show himself strong, you know, pretty much still consolidation at the highs. And we are just coming into the 382, which is where you'd expect a bounce on kind of a macro cycle. And we got this little megaphone pattern here. Yeah, I do believe a lot of people took longs here, stop losses right there, got wicked out. And I do think we're going to have one more, you know, at least one more pump down. So if we bounce it up here, up to the 236, you know, if you start to see that roll over, that's your indicator that, well, it's probably going to go for more. So bounces come up to that fib line or this daily white 200 simple, very likely to retest that. If it does retest as a lower high, that again would be on the bearish side. On the bearish side. And who knows, you know, bets are off, you know, bets are off with war and, you know, maybe an emergency Fed meeting to bolster the economy and pick the dollar back up. And the dollar is coming into our major trend line. So if the dollar bounces here, Japanese yen starts coming down. things settle down with the war. You know, a lot can happen. Lots all drama here. But I'm going to play with the trend, and I'm going to let the trend be your friend till the end of the trend. On the weekly time frame, we did just post the first lower high, and we had a lower low and a lower high. That's a trend reversal on the weekly time frame. So a lot of people wondering, you know, hey, is the bull market over? We may want to consider these options as trend is shifting on not only the weekly but the daily time frame. And the bullish hopium, again, the hash ribbons indicator playing out, you know, 19 times over the last, hitting, only failing 3 times out of 19 over the last year. So over the last dawn of history of Bitcoin, since the inception of Bitcoin, I might as well bring it up again. Hash ribbons. Boom. Hash ribbons. And I will just bring it up here shortly to show you guys that the way this thing works is it prints a blue buy signal, and then we should never have a closure below the prior wick low. And you can see in a few other buy signals, I guess I'll go back to this area. This would have been a failure, right? That would have worked. That would have worked. I might need to go back one additional market cycle here. I specifically remember one blue buy signal firing off, and we wicked into the low, but we never closed below that prior low. Here we go, blue buy signal. So we should not close below that low. We never closed below it. And here is the last blue buy signal I'm going to go over. But essentially what happens, blue buy signal happens. You should never break below the prior low. If you do, it's bad. And we are still in effect here. We're still blue buy signal good. So I will be back with you guys tomorrow. We'll take a look at what happens with the war and with Bitcoin. And just keep in mind our major value area to put some limit orders in down here between 44 and now $35,000. With that said, guys, I'm going to leave you. Have yourself a blessed and highly favored rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.